just move over here. Well, Susan might not join us today because Susan had obligations, which I totally understand. Hello, hello. I don't think I can wear my hat today because I got my hair up in this little tiny little floofy thing. So you're just going to have to put up with the fuzzies, y'all. Where are you? Nobody's here with me. That's okay. I'll just pull a tarot card for myself. I can pull one for you, Grim. He never lets me read his cards. He must be afraid of what I'll see. Is that true? After 20 years of a blissful love relationship, are you worried that I'll see something that you don't want me to see?
No.
Oh.
I'm too much of a control freak.
Boy, this is awfully laggy.
I changed the latency feed, so hopefully it's not quite so choppy for the viewers, according to the instructions.
Okay, well, I hope that happens. I hope it works. Because it looks like choppy on this end already. Of course, what do I know? Well, come on in, everyone. Have a seat. Chill out. Make yourself comfortable. 'Tis Wednesday. 'Tis Wednesday. Michelle, you do need to order a hat. And we have some online on our openthepurpledoor.com website. There are some hats handmade by a Purple Door Witch and Herbalist Guild leader, Angela. So, yeah, we'd love that. We'd love that. We just sold, we still have some left. We have to take another black one off the website, but everybody likes the black ones. We still have some we have to take. So let's just all just gather here. If you know someone that normally joins us and they're not here yet, Susan is not able to tag folks like she usually does. And to be honest with you, boy, what is wrong with me today? There's this little screen up here and I can see myself and I keep seeing this is off center, but I keep moving it to another off center position. See what I'm saying? Fuck it. That is incredibly insane. Anyways, it's really good to have you here. Please tag and share if you know someone that is normally here. Oh, Susan is here. Okay, fine. Great. Hi, Susan. Glad you made it back safely. I'm just kind of sitting here just blah, blah, blabbing until folks arrive.
You just shared yesterday's feed, not today's.
You shared yesterday's feed.
I just saw a pretty face and wanted to share it.
Oh, thank you, baby. Just a lot of chaotic energy. You know, chaos is around us all the time. I mean, we're not alive on this plane of existence without the effect of chaos all the time. It is literally what we are created from. Okay? However, it feels like sometimes some days are a little louder than others, if that makes sense. I feel like I've been hearing that from most people that I talk to these days that are empaths or sensitives. They're talking about how it's just like the voices are louder, the feelings are more intense, just, whether they're happy or sad, it doesn't really matter. It feels like there's more intenseness involved. And I do believe that's because as the world is wakening up and we're shifting vibrational frequencies, of course it's going to affect us on an energetic level. I wanted to say a shout out to AFOD. I don't know if she's here. I know she usually watches later. She's another part of the country. So AFOD, if you're watching later, thank you. She posted something in the Musician Guild today that reminded me of something that I haven't spoken about in quite some time, and that is the 432 hertz, uh, the hertz channels that you can find on YouTube. And the reason that we talk about these is in this stressful time, um, whether you have your own stress at work or home or relationship, or you're having, just a result of everything that's kind of going on with politics and the weather and whatnot. I know a lot of us are just kind of like, stressed out. One of the things that Grim and I and Mist as well will turn to frequently when we're in um, some stressful situations like that. At night, we will fall asleep to 432HZ. So YouTube, Google search, whatever you need to. It's on, but do look on YouTube for the HZ. It's the solfege um, channels. Just look around and see 432HZ, and you will see pop up quite a few examples of different people's music that they've created. The whole premise of it is that behind the music that you're hearing is an underlying vibrational frequency, like wee, just kind of running steady. And 432 is the hertz level that most of the earth kind of is used to being at. That is humanity's sort of humming along, everything's fine and dandy, sort of 432 hertz uh, sweet spot, right? Then there are other frequencies. If you poke around on those channels a little bit, they'll start recommending other HZ frequencies to you. And they bounce around between 528. Some of them are in the 200s. You can find some in the 900s, which usually typically means that you're working with the angelic realms. But I suggest if you don't use these frequencies yet to help yourself just chill, I suggest that you start with 432 and then adjust it from there. And if you dive in, let's say you dive into one of the 700s and you hit play and you're listening to it and it just kind of sounds like, ooh, I'm not sure I like that. Turn it off. Come back to it later. You're probably just not ready for that particular frequency yet. So allow that to just guide you a bit. And don't get stuck in a rut at only 432 or anything like that. Allow yourself to explore it. Like I suggested, start there. But of course, if 432 doesn't feel right to you, don't stay there either. Poke around a little bit. As far as, you know, how that really works, it just, in layman's simple terms, when you listen to that vibrational frequency, you know how if you put a bunch of beads on the top of a drum and you hit the drum, they're going to bounce. I mean, that's the whole story behind the Blue Man Group, right? But the beads bounce and they'll try to find a steady rhythm until they finally stop bouncing. It's kind of like that when we encounter a new rhythm. Imagine that life's uncertainties are that drum, boing, and we vibrate, right? And as we align ourselves with these vibrations that are around us, we can smooth out our own like stress response systems, okay? But you got to believe this works. If you don't believe it and you think it's a bunch of hooey, then it's not going to work for you. But if you're able to understand what I'm talking about and you go, oh, that totally makes sense, I get it, it might just be the ticket. I have friends, and I do this for myself as well, although I'll be honest, I don't do it nearly enough. In the daytime, I have friends that, witch friends, that will meditate during using some of these HZ frequencies. I will on occasion during the day, but I find myself receiving, I think, most of the benefit from it while I'm asleep at night. And you can play one of those channels and it will play for 5 hours, 8 hours. I mean, you can sleep right through and it just keeps this steady tone. Um, so I suggest trying that. I think it's a good idea, and it's helped Graham and I both a lot. And we've been doing it. I think we discovered those in like 2018 or something like that. So we've been, using them frequently, and it's something that we recommend. So go check it out. All right. I see a few more people have joined us here. Let's see who is here. Let's see. Michelle is here. Hello, hello. Victoria Williams, Susan, Jane is here. Hello, Jane. Constance is here. Karen Berkentine Springer. Always love saying that name. It just sounds, I love that name. Shelly Brown is here. Hello. Thanks for tagging LJ, Constance. I appreciate that. Tanya. Um, Jacqueline. Angela Turley. We were just talking about you, lady. About to send you this week's warts. I'm sorry they're a little bit late again. Grim and I are actually working on trying to get things out ahead of time, but we're catching up on some backlogs, so coming your way.
You literally have people, this is my view. This is all I've hidden as far as the chat feed goes.
Oh yeah, well, Facebook doesn't like you. We know that. You and Mark Zuckerberg probably should never have tea.
In a past life, he was probably my wife.
Right.
A bad one at that.
Oh my God. Jacqueline says that Spotify has a whole bunch of HC playlists. Great to know. I don't use Spotify, but good to know. And oh, you're on your way to pick up the kids. Well, please be careful. And Jerry Van Dam, hello, hello. I don't know. I thought Jerry was laughing. I'm like, what are those smiley faces for? So glad to have you all here with us. Oh, and I think I just saw Brandon's name pop in there. Meowsy Peeps. Hello, hello. So if I missed your name, I do apologize. I'm so glad that you're here. We are talking today, and I'm going to light my candle, our little pink lotus candle. So just as I do this, focus yourself for a minute. I'll talk about what we're going to be talking about today, but I want to light this candle. You know the drill. Eyes closed if you're not driving like Jacqueline. Jacqueline, keep your eyes open. Allow yourself to just, oh boy, unwind. I said I don't need to walk you through this, but now I'm needing to walk myself through it because I've been carrying a lot of tension myself the last few days. Uh, you know, I find myself stuck frequently between, two schools of thought on things, and I find myself in a bit of a people pleasing scenario, and that, usually when you're in people pleasing mode, what you're not doing is taking care of your own needs. So that's slowly been coming to my mind that I'm in that pattern again. I need to kind of unfold from it. But allow your breath to just take away that. As you breathe out, just allow it to just fade out into the universe. You don't need to hold on to the negativity. You don't need to hold on to any of that right now. We are in this liminal space that we've created together. And although I sit here in my physical space and I can look around and see, you know, the tin ceiling above me of the church and my trunk behind me there and the date blocks on the trunk and the stairs behind me and some of my scarves. I can feel all that. My books, Grimm, tarot cards, printer. But when I focus my attention and I close my eyes, and I sometimes can do this with my eyes open too, it's just a little easier with my eyes closed. I actually imagine myself I can see it. We're sitting in a room. It's a dark room. I'm not sure where it is even located or how we find ourselves there every time, but I know that there is a hue of deep purple all around us and a glowing fire in the middle. Be it candle or an actual fire, I'm not positive. I can see faces across from me sitting in a circle, faces of you, people that I know and love and have come to cherish in my life. I can see the glow of our united spirit. And that's the space that I'm looking for. Healing green light coming in now into that space. That's a new one for us at this moment. I'm seeing that green misty mist that I sometimes see when there are ancestors present, but also that green is a connection to the heart space. And so allowing our hearts to be more open, our minds to also be more open to receiving the information that we receive from Spirit. I ask for the divine guidance of the Mother, Father, God, Goddess energy. I ask for that connection to our own past lives, spirit guides, familiars, beloved dead, our ancestors that also guide us with their wisdom, knowing that we may make mistakes, but also knowing that they're on our side. They've never left, even though they may physically no longer be here in this realm. Call upon any from the Fae or other kin realms, Nimue, Hecate, Morgan, Aphrodite. I call upon animal, crystal, and plant allies that are here to also help guide us. They're part of our path now, and they're part of our path in the future, and they've been part of our paths in the past. Uniting here now for the common good of all. Only that energy that is here to help us toward making our next best step is allowed to permeate. When we're ready to come out of this liminal space that we've collected here and gathered in, we know that the worries of the world and the stress and the negative energies will be right there just beyond. So for this little time, let's take a deep breath, take several deep breaths. Connect yourself, allowing that white Christ consciousness energy, that crystalline bright light connection to find its way to the parts of your body and your energy field that need clearing, cleansing, healing. Releasing now any tension and releasing negative energy, releasing any decaying, dead, or dying cells that are no longer useful to your human incarnation. Allow them all to pass and allow in fresh, healing energy. May we find ourselves withstanding together yet again. May we find the courage that we need to find to seek our next answers. And may the words I say be the words that need to be heard. May they be heard clearly and with understanding. And so it is. And so it shall be. So today's topic, I felt somebody wanted to see that a little bit longer, so here you go. I wish I had something high enough to put this on so it could stay in our view. I used to have, at the Covenstead, I had something that I could put things on, but see, I'm afraid I'm going to knock that right off. So for now, it's going to stand over there. I'll ask my set design team that can come up with a plan for me. All right. So today's topic, waiting to explode. I know that's kind of a weird one, and you know, for those of you that don't know, a lot of times I receive my inspiration from spirit when I'm in the bathroom right before 420, because I go in there for my like afternoon ablutions. I brush my teeth because I don't like to give a reading with a dirty mouth. It's just who I am. I brush my teeth, I floss, I will sometimes put a little makeup on, lipstick, stuff, fix my hair if it's not too obnoxious. But I also, at that time, spend a lot of time looking in the mirror, of course, because I'm preparing myself for 420. But as you know, I work with mirror energy all of the time, and um, I have conversations with myself, trusting that I know that my higher self is connected to the divine and connected to my ancestors and my guides. And so, what I hear while I'm preparing myself for 420 is very much what I try to pay attention to talk about when we gather here. Some of you know that, some of you don't. When I was preparing myself, I kept getting messages about explosions, but not in a like physical way of something like harmfully exploding, but more on the emotional realm. And the reason I wanted to talk about it today is because it's been a theme in a lot of the readings I've had, and also uh, some of the encounters I've had with folks this week in person. There seems to be a theme of people just not being able to keep their cool, keep their shit together, right? We're all coming just under a lot of stress, and it doesn't take a lot to tick some people off these days. And some of you may find yourself being one of those people that is just waiting to explode. It's just under the surface. And so I've been giving this some thought over the last couple of days, and I realized that I myself go through my own sort of waiting to explode fluctuation. I just don't explode in an angry outburst like many folks do. But, oops, see, I'm just about to burn this piece of paper with that candle. But what I found myself doing, we talk all the time here about hashtag withstanding. We're here to help one another. We lean on one another. We're here to be a part of one another's lives. And indeed, when one of us falls or has a tough time, I hope that we all feel secure enough to reach out to, if not me or Grim or one of the guild leaders, at least someone here in our community that you feel strongly connected to. I hope that you found that in this community. And if you haven't, the opportunity is there because we're a bunch of really fantastic people. But that's beside the point. I found myself, I have found myself recently, Grim and I, we always have 1,000 projects going on. And a big part of my day is also consumed by interacting with people who have questions of a magical nature or who are looking for readings. Or I had a reading with a couple days ago and they're following up from that reading. Just, there's always kind of this constant cycle of that going on. And on top of that, I have so many things. We're doing the wart cunning wisdom posts that Angela Turley's been sharing, bless her heart, on the Herbalist Guild pages, and we're getting some information out there, and people are interacting. This week's wart, by the way, side note, Willow. There's a whole bunch of reasons why we picked Willow, and I'll tell you about that later. But you'll see that post coming out later this evening, hopefully. Angela will get that from us here shortly, and you'll see that. If you're not part of the Herbalist Guild, head on over there because it's really pretty cool. Um, but in spite of all of these, I love all of these projects. I love that. But in spite of it, I still do get overwhelmed sometimes with the um, just the sheer amount of things that we're trying to accomplish. And I'm not complaining in any way. But what I am noticing about myself is that when I get to near my breaking point, right, I'm not letting off steam here and there with folks that could potentially assist me. So when I talk about withstanding, I realized these last few days that I have not been leaning on my brothers and sisters like I encourage all of us to do all of the time. I keep things kind of churning along in here. And though I love what I'm doing, and I don't want you to get in the least even a moment thought that I am not joyful about what we're creating, because I love the Purple Door and I love the people there and I love creating things for you. I really do. I love it. I love it. Grim loves it. We love helping you on your path. But that doesn't mean we don't get overwhelmed sometimes. But I found myself, in spite of saying, withstanding, lean on one another, blah, 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 I found myself not doing that. And it wasn't a conscious thing. I didn't think, well, I'm not going to reach out to anybody because they're a bunch of lamos and they can't help me anyways. That never even crossed my mind. I think I do what a lot of you do out there. I think a lot of us go, oh, I don't really want to trouble anybody. I don't really want to trouble anybody. And I know that a lot of times I will talk to someone about possibly being a guild leader or taking on, they're interested in a project or whatnot. And I still want to be involved with it, but I'm also hoping that that person will kind of run with the opportunity a little bit. And um, that oftentimes doesn't happen because I think we're all worried that we're going to, you know, offend or hurt or whatever. We are empaths. We are people pleasers and we are sensitive to these things. We don't like to cause a ruckus. We don't like to rock the boat. Well, some of us do, right, Grimmer?
Well, since I'm not allowed to interact with this live stream, I'm out there rocking the boat right now.
Are you rocking the boat? Yeah, Grim's been shadow banned from Facebook again. So if you're sending him something or posting something, waiting for him to respond to you, keep checking back because he's not getting his notifications. His things aren't being read and seen again. It happens every so often. Okay, so back to the waiting to explode. I've learned that there is a part of me that benefits from this explosion energy. When I do get to that breaking point and I go, ah, and I just have to like let it out, right? I do feel release and there is a sense of betterment or some kind of a um, shift in my thinking after one of those like ah. And I don't want you to think that I get like super irate. Grim will tell you that happens very rarely, right, Grimmer?
I look forward to those days.
You look forward to those days because it means we're in a really good debate. But but no, I don't. I tend to not be that kind of person. I just I know some people right away. I'm just not that. But I also don't want to be the person anymore that waits until that heavy weight is on my shoulders to the point that I do explode. That's not healthy energy for anyone. It's not healthy to be me exploding because that's stress and that means I've been shoving that down for a long time and not really letting it out little bit by little bit. I'm holding it all in and then it explodes. And unfortunately, a lot of times the people that are around us are the recipients of that explosion. Now, I know some of you that are in the writer's rook that helped produce the Purple Door easing, you're probably going, is Gussie talking about her comments yesterday in the rook chat? And I actually am a little bit. That was me kind of having a little bit of a breakdown. I don't usually go off the chain. When I was a younger woman, I did that more. But as I'm croning and getting older, I just don't find myself responding in that like visceral response like I used to. I can, but I don't find myself there. But I do find myself not reaching out enough. And I wonder if how many of you find yourself that way too? Are you finding yourself, if you really sit and think about it? As a matter of fact, I got a message from someone today. Gussie, I love you. I miss you so much. I didn't want you to think I was forgetting about you, but I haven't felt well, and I didn't want to burden you with that because I know you have a lot on your plate. How many of you feel that way? Not necessarily about me, but how many of you know that feeling that you just don't want to burden someone else, and somehow you feel you're too extra or too much or not enough? We really need to focus on these feelings over the next couple of days, months, minutes, however long it takes you to process it. Because we are enough and we aren't too much. And if the people around us love us enough and authentically enough, they should be able to tell us if we're being extra, and they should be able to withstand with us. Now, one of the toxic traits about waiting to explode is that it can be extremely unhealthy when you keep putting off really speaking your mind, speaking your mind, speaking your mind. You put it off and put it off, or you just don't attend to what's making you stressed. You kind of put it off on the side, and then suddenly the pot boils over, and boom, it's kind of everywhere. It explodes. That can be a toxic trait when you allow that to be the way you communicate your frustration, your displeasure, your apprehension. If you allow that explosion to be the way you communicate, that's when people start to go, wow, like, I don't need that. I mean, they can go explode somewhere else. I don't even know why they, exploded on me like that. I don't even know what I was doing. It can carry over into other relationships that you don't want it to carry over into. So I'm only talking about this because I want you to consider your own self. Are you one of those people that kind of waits to explode? Or do you have someone in your life that you know waits to explode? In both categories, it's time to shift that energy, time to recognize that um, pattern, and time to alleviate yourself from that one. Start speaking up when you need to. I think it doesn't hurt to say, I know you've got a lot on your plate, but I just wanted to see if you had a minute to talk. We all are busy. All of us are busy. All of us are busy. I was in the Herbalist Guild yesterday, and I told in the chat room, in the little chat group in there, I said, please know that when you interact with the posts on the Herbalist Guild, it affects the algorithms. It's in a positive way. But the chat group, I don't know, I think it has minimal effect on the algorithm. I don't think it affects it like actually going to the post and interacting does. And I'm trying to get everyone kind of on the same pattern where we talk about one herb for a focus for that whole week. We learn what we can about that herb, all of us participating, and then we are going to move on to another herb next Wednesday. Is it like a study in, herbalism to the point that you get a degree? No. Is it a great level of remembering what you already know about some of these herbs, refreshing your memory, letting you know about some attributes and parts of the herb that you might not have thought about in a while, or maybe have never even realized? And so that conversation is really important. But I had a couple people say, well, the reason they're not participating is because they have busy lives, right? And I was asking, my busy life, if people aren't going to interact with the posts, then why should I make them? Just a thought. So if you want to still see stuff like that coming along, get in the get in those guilds, interact when you can, and if there's nothing going on, start a conversation. I'll get in there and respond. It might not be right away, but I just think, ooh, just had a bunch of cards pop out, y'all. I just think it's a good thing. I think it's something that we're all building together, and I'm excited to be a part of it. I know I just jumped around a little bit, but I have two cards that popped out, so I'm going to read them both for this group. Again, I'm using my Dark Mansion Tarot deck that I just received as a gift. I wish I had them on the Purple Door website so you could all go over there and buy them. Wouldn't that be nice? But I don't have those on the website yet. Um, so the first card that popped out is the Two of Pentacles. Boy, that two is all about balance. And and after all, isn't that what we're talking about today? When we talk about not exploding, we're talking about finding that balance within ourselves where we let off enough steam so that we don't get to the big kaboom. Uh, Sometimes big kabooms are helpful, but I can't really think about, honestly, like that one fellow I said that once in a while I'll repeat his phrase. I was at a restaurant with my daughter several months ago, and this fellow said, "Nothing good comes from an angry mouth." And you've heard me say that before. It is so true. Angry mouths don't usually get a lot of uh, sympathy. What angry mouths produce is actually people being defensive, getting on the defensive. They make people feel like they need to protect themselves. An angry mouth it can feel abrupt um, and kind of like a bully, raised voices and irritated sounds and whatnot. So I'm not saying you shouldn't get to that point. We're human. We're going to be frustrated. We're going to get angry. We're going to explode now and then. But if you can start taking the time to notice where your own balance is off, this is a brand new journey for you here. Taking a look at your own behavioral patterns so that you can make some adaptations for future events so that you don't have a repeat of some of these things. Wouldn't it be nice to communicate what you need with someone before you get to the explosion stage? Wouldn't it be nice for them to be able to hear what you're saying and understand you, and they can, respond in a way that makes sense to both of you? Looking for that balance. Also, I'm seeing that some of us have money tied up in areas that maybe they shouldn't have money tied up in. Um, it looks like you've put money away for a rainy day and you're saving it, but there's also been some kind of a nagging thought in the background that maybe it isn't the best choice. I don't know. I'm seeing my dad digging little holes in the background. He used to dig. I'm pretty sure he used to hide like little treasure chests of money here and there. But he was old school, I think he would be like 100 and some years old if he was alive. But it feels like someone's out there making some decisions about money like that. That you're not really positive it's a good decision. You're not really sure where you're putting your money, if it's a lucrative and safe thing. Who in the world would be calling me? Jeez. Somebody just called me, and it's a 420 person. I hope she's okay. I'm gonna have to get back to her. Um, I know sometimes that when you try to talk about finances with your partner, it feels like two ships are passing in the night, like you're not exactly making sense to each other. You're not coming to agreements on this one. but I also know that you both have the right attitude in mind. And so just keep moving forward and keep having those conversations. Don't be afraid to bring money up because it might cause an argument. You do need to have these conversations with one another and get past that stuff. No more explosions. And you tell him that if you need to. No more explosions. That's just not okay. It's not acceptable. And it's not acceptable for you either. So check yourself. Okay. Next one is the Ten of Swords. Oh, yes. You know, when I work with the tarot cards, swords to me always signifies like burdens. Swords can mean many things. Swords can mean many things. But a lot of times when you get into the higher levels of the tarot cards, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10 are usually meaning to me that that person that I'm reading for is depressed or down to the point that they're kind of at their last straw. Now, I know that might not fit some of you because I know some of the names here are, you guys are doing pretty good out there and I'm happy for you. So I'm not exactly sure who this message is meant for. Maybe it's just an acknowledgement of where you've been because I know some of you have been through that dark night of the soul. And the Ten of Swords indicates that you're reaching that point of, can't take much more, gonna explode. So find that pattern for yourself and seek that balance. Seek that balance because I've been thinking recently, talking recently again about the Schumann resonance quite a bit, vibrational frequency quite a bit. Those conversations never really stop. They just kind of morph and fade in the background for a bit. We talk about some other things and then they come back. But if we each think of ourselves as like a little energy machine, right? We each produce frequencies, we each produce energy, all of us. When you allow yourself to get to those moments of explosion, all you're really doing is stressing everything out to the max. You're pushing it out to the max. And that can't be good. Unless that's the way that you eliminate stress. But there's got to be a better way, folks. There's got to be a better way. I'm going to look for it. I think you should look for it too. And I think we'll all be better for it. Again, I'm not saying don't get mad. I'm not saying, you know, shelve your feelings or drown them or push them away. I'm not saying that at all. Never would I say that. I do shadow work for a living. I would not tell you to ignore yourself. I'm telling you to pay attention to those moments where you need to reach out. You need to find balance. You need to set your boundaries. You need to say no more, whether that's to someone in your life or yourself. I love y'all. I know we can do this. Okay, little bit of business before we leave. Hopefully some of you are still here because I haven't seen any comments in a long time. So Facebook is funny that way. Um, okay. Um, don't forget, tonight at 9 p.m., we do Pause for Peace. That's something that we've been doing for a couple of years together now. And it literally is just taking some time to pause for yourself, take some deep breaths, ground yourself, get yourself to a relaxed state. And when you are able to breathe comfortably and relaxed and focused, share that energy outward toward this purple door energy that we create together, this beautiful, peaceful space. We call it our purple cauldron. Put it in there, share it. It's what we've got to do for one another. It's what we've got to do. We got to keep shining our light. Even when we feel like exploding, we got to shine our light. Also, don't forget that we are going to do a Purple Door Witch Wave on the 28th of this month. That is another opportunity to create this beautiful energy that we create together. You can join us. It's at 9 p.m. on the 28th of February. It's on Eastern Standard Time, I should say. And we will do a meditation and ritual, and I hope that you join us for that. If you have friends that you think might appreciate it, invite them to come too. You don't have to pay for anything for that. It's a freebie that we give away to our community, so we'd love to have you there. Other than that, am I forgetting? Don't forget to go check out the new Cauldron of Wisdom on the openthepurpledoor.com page. Grimm's been programming our little chat bot, the Cauldron, and for a while there, it thought it was actually Gussie Grey Witch, but we got it figured out, I think. So it's a really wonderful resource for information about all things witchy. I mean, I don't know if you wanted to do, your book report on To Killing Mockingbird in there or anything. I don't know if you'd get that information. But the witchy stuff that Grimm and I, work with and 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 I guess manifest every day, that a lot of that information is in there. So take a look. It's a lot of fun. Um, all right. I think that's it. Till Friday, y'all. Till Friday. Watch those patterns in your life. Don't explode. If you need to talk to somebody, please reach out. Please reach out. Yeah. Closing the circle. Stay magical.